The process to undertake a school assessment involves not only the actual use of Starting for Schools. The success of the project will depend on many other components. You have to build the foundations of the project, plan the assessment, then conduct the assessment on the ground using the tool, and then look ahead for next steps. These stages are only the reference and can change from project to project, or if you combine Starting for Schools with other initiatives that you already have in mind on school improvement and road safety for children. One of the most important activities to include as part of your project is understanding who your partners are and engage them through the entire life of the project. You should map the individuals and organizations that are affected by the project. It's fundamental to engage the school community, road authorities, education and health departments, and also civil society organizations. Until a road is improved, we are not yet saving lives. It's crucial to understand how the road improvements and other project activities will be funded. It can be through grants provided for pilot projects, partnerships with private organizations, or aligning activities with the budget and priorities of local authorities, for example. Thanks to the donors and program partners, the Starting for Schools video course is available for free. It is important, however, to consider the staff time required to attend the training and also to undertake the assessments. On Moodle and the Starting for Schools website, you can find a spreadsheet that can help you calculate the time required for these activities. In terms of the road improvements, it will depend a lot on the country and the complexity of the interventions to be implemented. However, the experience of Starting for Schools partners shows that improving the streets around the school may cost from $2,000 to $30,000. Selecting the schools to start the project with is an important step. To select the schools, you can use different criteria. You can use traffic crash data or other data sources, also sociodemographics. You can use previous studies and projects already conducted with schools. It depends on what data you have available. You can also discuss with road authorities their local priorities and planning projects. This can mean incorporating school assessments and improvements as part of larger road improvements, for example. In one of the next modules, you will hear more about the big data screening methodology that can also help you in this process of selecting the schools. Engaging the school community is essential for the success of the project, so that they have ownership of the project, provide inputs on locations for assessment, share local issues, and discuss what they would like to see implemented. You can make ludic activities, temporary interventions. You can ask kids to pin in a map where they feel safe or unsafe, for example. In one of our next modules, you will learn more about the Youth Engagement app that can help you in this process of collecting risk perception to guide Starting for Schools infrastructure assessments. Having clarity on what you want to obtain with the assessment results is also helpful. The Starting for Schools can be used as an advocacy tool to reinforce the demand for safer journeys, but can also be incorporated to campaigns and education activities, for example. When it comes to infrastructure, Starting for Schools can help on prioritizing locations for intervention, discussing the combination of improvements, and measuring the impact of interventions. A combined approach, however, using the results for different purposes and activities, is recommended. Following ethic and legal procedures is even more important when you are conducting a project involving children. Please make sure to get permission for any images or data collected. If the school community asks you about what you are doing, be clear in explaining the project and your activities. Be respectful to local culture and regulations. When you're conducting the assessments, please also make sure to not put yourself at risk standing in the middle of the road, for example, or blocking sidewalks and forcing other people to walk in the traffic lanes. The Starting for Schools allows you to blur images that might be sensitive. You can delete, for example, faces in the pictures or any information on vehicles, for example. You can just select the areas that you want to make the changes and save it. When you are conducting a school assessment, it is important to inform and introduce all stakeholders to the project. But you don't need everyone to become an expert in the tools that you're going to use for the assessment. You can select a smaller group that will be your assessment team and will learn in detail how to use the Starting for Schools tools. We have courses available in multiple languages at irap.org. After all these steps, then it's time to use Star for Schools to assess the level of safety of the infrastructure. You see, Star for Schools is a fraction of your project to help you measure, monitor, and communicate risk in a clear way. You can also include at this stage other tools focused on behavioral education, for example, complementing each other. It is important to remember that sometimes the biggest road safety challenges of a child walking to school are not at the entrance of the school. For this reason, it is important to understand the pedestrian routes around the school with a broader radius. Understanding points of attractions as markets, plazas, public transport stops, other schools, and areas where the students live. You can use the information obtained in the engagement with the school, asking students and community to pin locations, for example. The module on the Youth Engagement app will show how you can use this risk perception information to define the locations for assessment with Star for Schools.